I'm Michael Versio. I am a fourth generation Adventist within the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Moved here to Oklahoma about 5 years ago. You know, one text that's kind of gravitated with me recently is found in Exodus 14. And it's talking about Moses bringing the people of Israel out of Egypt. And the text goes like this. In verse 13, it says, "Moses answered the people, 'Do not be afraid, stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring to you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to be still.'" You know, one thing I've learned about prayer and something that I've tried to cultivate in my own prayer life is praying what I call a SMART prayer. Perhaps you've heard of the acronym SMART. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. In other words, it says, Michael, you are praying a prayer of specifics, and I, the Lord, am going to reply with specifics. Years ago, I bought a piece of investment property, 80 acres, and after holding it for a period of time, I decided it was time to sell it. Now, in order to make the most value out of this deal, I decided to do owner financing, which meant the new buyer would put some money down and then I would finance the rest until it was paid for. Well, a few weeks after listing it, I found a buyer. He called me up, wanted the piece of property, and so we went to the title company and got everything finished. He put 10% down, everything was closed out, and then he would make a monthly payment every month. Well, the first month came by and no payment was made. And he was busy and I was busy, so I just kind of let it go. The second month came by and no payment was made. Third month came by, and after numerous times of reaching out to him, I realized this deal wasn't going anywhere. And so I called him, tried to make some arrangements for him, but unfortunately the buyer went silent. So here I found, after 5 to 6 months of trying to figure out how to proceed forward with the deal, we had to repossess the property. Well, as we were finishing the foreclosure process, our church at the time had a big fundraiser for a mission project that I felt very passionate about. The only problem was that I had no money to give, except for this 80 acres that was going through foreclosure. And so I prayed my SMART prayer, asking the Lord if it was His will, this would be an opportunity for me to give extra, for our family to give extra to this mission project. A few weeks later, after listing it, somebody called me up, viewed the property, and asked me what my bottom price would be. Now, as we were negotiating the specifics on the call, a thought came into my head, and that was, if God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, He can bring the right price. And so before we hung up, I mentioned to the guy, because much of this proceeds were going to charity, I would be holding firm on price. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to get rid of this property. I wanted to give to the church. But I also realized that this was God's deal, not mine. So the gentleman hung up in a bit of a state of shock, and I waited to see what was going to happen. 2 days later, he called me up and wanted to buy the property. And so we laid out the terms, we went to the title company, got everything finished, and yet the world over the next 2 weeks started to slip into my mind. I had just been through a deal like this that went south. There's lots of other properties to buy. My land is expensive. Why should he want to go through with this deal? And as I was beginning to think about that, the world's ways crept into my mind, and I realized, overcome with doubt, that this deal probably wouldn't go through. And I can remember on a Sabbath morning 2 weeks later, I suddenly get a call or a text on my phone, and here it is from this gentleman standing on the piece of property, holding the full amount of cash in his hand. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, "Michael, I'm ready to move faster if you are." And it was occurred to me that when Exodus 14 came back to my mind, that the Lord is saying, stand still and let me fight for you. You only need to stand still. I will handle the logistics, Michael. And I'm also remembered, be still and know that I am God. And this is a prime, SMART answer to prayer, where God was specific, measurable, and He achieved things in a way that I didn't think were possible. I know Jesus is alive because He answers SMART prayers.